Okay, I know I can't hear you, and you can hear me. And I'm not in the main channel.
understand me better than I understand myself. You can know my personality type, my political views, my sexual preferences, my mental weaknesses, my deepest fears and hopes. You know more about me than I know about myself. And you can do that not just to me, but to everyone. A system that understands us better than we understand ourselves can predict our feelings and decisions, can manipulate our feelings and decisions, and can ultimately make decisions for us.
Just remove your smile. Throw some the can. And the world is turning gray with a middleman. Shouldn't really be surprised just how far we've fallen. A dream we never wanted come from the sound of destruction.
Police, hiding, endless, riots, kill them, babies, save them, pride, stronger, meds, bigger, feds, blast up, bitch, calls, mom says.
Let's get used to this. We can't care about it all. Routines when the sky falls to the ground. Let's get this over with. We know how this ends already. Mental woman, what's wrong? Can't you get along? Then the rapist in jail swears that he is one. Not really a problem until it shows on your doorstep. Now open up. Let's get used to this. We can't care about it all. Routines when the sky falls to the ground. Let's get this over with. We know how this ends already. The color is from the tail. Simon, what then should we ask to the public? What then should it is to notice? If it's over with, you can feel bad about it later. Just get over it.
My ear. I have nothing in my ear.
He's pissing. Stand by. Okay, go.
Welcome to Disaffected. I'm Joshua Slocum, and this is the show where we talk about politics. We are not recording. Hey, folks, this is live, so you're going to hear me talking to Kevin. I hope that I am showing up on your screen. Bear with us. We're going to have fun tonight. This is going to be a hot show, but this is the very first time that we are coming to you from our new studio. There are going to be technical glitches, so we're just going to roll with it. Kevin, I'm telling you this now. On my return feed, I see the not recording red thing flashing. You should know that. All right. So, this week has been crazy. I've had house emergencies all this week. Okay, let me stop for a second here. We're in the new studio. It's 95% complete, but I'm sitting here and showing you this physical room because it's not 100% complete. Just wanted you to see sort of what's been going on this week. When we get to it next week, I'll be in front of a video screen and look all professional and all that nonsense again. But this is a sound isolated room. It's very nice. So this week, house emergencies. Kevin's been here all week with his friend Phil. They've been building this studio, and in the basement section on the other side of that wall is a control room. It looks like the engine room of the Enterprise, the old school one with actual toggles, not the touch screens. It's not a floating Marriott hotel up in this bitch, okay? And of course, this week, the people of Los Angeles are losing their lives and their homes in the worst wildfire in modern history, and they've been left high and quite literally dry by their progressive government. We're going to tie my house stories and that together. little local worries and the catastrophe happening in Los Angeles, but let's start small here at home. Thank you for joining us. If you're watching this right now on Sunday night, this is actually live. It's not just a live premiere. I'm actually sitting here speaking to you right now. I call this little piece I put together Little Shitty House on the Prairie. See, because I'm living in Little House on the Prairie with none of the charm. I live in the country. That means that there are no water main lines, no city water. That means there's no city sewer. That means there's no city natural gas lines. None of the things you are used to living in the city and the suburbs exist out here. Every single home has to have its own infrastructure. That means I have a drilled well, an actual well. There was a water pump that sits to the bottom to supply water to the house. Everything goes out to a septic system that has to be maintained on my property. I have a big propane tank to fire the heater. So that's country living. I know that's well known to some of you, but I've talked to some people this week who have had no idea that sort of thing existed. Kevin, are you going to be? Here we go. Yeah, that's me standing in front of Kevin's SUV, which he yes, I'm pissing. Sorry. This is what we had to do. I'm going to tell you why. That's Kevin driving his SUV down the hill into my backyard when I specifically told him not to. And yes, he did get stuck. So the other night, the water pump went out. What that means is that the pump that sits down in my drilled well that supplies water to me and to my upstairs tenants in this house, we had no water. Can't flush toilet, no running water, taps dry. At the same time, my poor tenants upstairs were having electrical brownouts. The lights were flickering, they were dimming, then they were strobing. Then the electric elements on the stove did not work, and then they did work. Scary stuff. You're worried about an electrical fire, right? All this is going on while we're doing construction and trying to figure out where to put this show together. So the first night, I got about 4 hours of sleep. I was up half the night trying to figure out what the hell was wrong. Then I was up at 6:30 in the morning calling emergency plumbers. I got a plumber out at 9 in the morning, thank goodness. Then he couldn't figure it out, so I had to call a specialist with drilled wells to come out to my house. We found out that half the main electrical power to the house, one of the 120-volt main leads into the house, was completely dead. So the house was getting half power. That's why my well pump wasn't running. The pump runs on electricity. That's why we had no water. Kevin is very clever, way more clever with infrastructure than I am. So we thought, let's start with the circuit breaker box. And we pulled out individual circuits that had been tested as putting out a measly like 34 volts. So I went and got new ones. We replaced those. Nothing. Didn't do a goddamn thing. Then I had to wait on a third electrician, praying that he would be able to come out because I'm responsible for the people who live upstairs and pay me rent, as well as myself here. And I've got 3 of us down here. We can't flush the toilet. So Kevin and Phil have been building the studio nonstop all week. They've been going for days. They're incredibly talented. Kevin is really, really good. He can do stuff that I can't do, and he does it quickly. You can't believe the equipment installation and everything that's gone on here this week. Then, in the middle of all these electrical problems, what are we looking at now? What have we got on the screen here? I don't know. That's out my window. Yeah, that's another. That's stuck SUV. And by the way,
Josh, this is you with water.
But we had no internet and no electricity. Well, we had electricity, not great electricity, and the water pump went out.
The water pump is
Josh is now
out.
shoveling.
We are melting snow in order to flush the fucking toilet. This is Little House on the Prairie with none of the charm.
None of breaker box is open. We've got random hot cables sticking out. Oh, that's nice. The only one who's getting good looking work done is right now, I think. New studio design. Josh's little side room here. And it's going.
That's our week. Welcome to my home. In the middle of all this bullshit, the fucking modem blew up. Then we have no internet, so I've got to go out and get a new modem at the same time. The snow is blowing. It's like 10 degrees outside, and I'm out in the backyard shoveling snow into a goddamn trash can so I can come and melt it on the stove. And you can see I've been practicing my lines and my one-liners for the show this week. Oh my God. So yeah, so we heated all this gray water on the stock pot so that we could actually flush the toilet. I haven't had a shower in 2 days. The entire house is a construction mess. I begged off my side gig because I couldn't do any work. But at least Kevin caught some of my pissing and belly aching and snow shoveling on video so that we can bring you the high quality and professional content that you have come to expect from us at Disaffected. These kinds of things stress me out really badly. I overreact and I catastrophize in the moment. I'm very reactive. I know. Like you hadn't noticed. And there are reasons for this. I mean, I legitimately do have long-term PTSD. And of course, a year and a half ago, this apartment that I'm sitting in was destroyed on the bottom floor by the historic floods in Vermont. I had water up to 18 inches. Let's just say it was almost $60,000 out of pocket. No insurance help. No help from FEMA. Much help from some of you viewers and from very kind people who subscribed to the Substack and did a fundraiser for me, and I'm really grateful. Thank you. Thank goodness that we've solved the electrical problem. I'm going to tie this up in a bow for you later, but let's get on to something bigger, bigger problems than what I've got on. The other day, before all this happened, I was sitting down doing an audio interview with a guest for an upcoming audio show, and my guest lived in LA. He was telling me about the Palisades fire, which had just started, and he could see it in the distance out his window. Now, today, or at least last night as I was writing the script, this is what Los Angeles looks like. We're going to put that up there. There's no sound here. This is a helicopter aerial shot of the hills around LA. Huge, enormous fire. In fact, if you didn't know better, you would think that was a volcanic ridge. It literally looks like the eruption crater in a volcano. So I'm sure you've seen more of that. We can end that graphic, Kevin, and go to the next one. I don't know what happened to the man and his dog that we're going to see in this video, but this is them trapped inside their house in the middle of the fire. Can we roll that, please? Jesus.
Just be okay. You're gonna be okay, alright? You're gonna be okay. Oh shit. Don't worry about that, dude. Look at that. Oh shit.
So this fire isn't just in the hills anymore. It's in the cities in LA, the cities surrounding LA. As I wrote this script, it was marching toward Brentwood and Encino and threatening the San Fernando Valley. Now, when I was a kid living in Southern California, the Santa Ana winds were feared every year for their ability to spread fire. We had to evacuate our apartment twice because the buildings behind us went up from the Santa Ana winds. If you haven't experienced it, it's as terrifying as being in a flood or being in a tornado or a powerful hurricane. These poor people, I can't imagine how they feel. So why is this happening? Incompetence and progressive politics, refusal to clear cut forests, refusal to clear out dead brush and fuel load on environmental grounds, refusal to fill up water reserves and reservoirs for, well, I don't know. I don't know. It's due to cutting the firefighting budget. It's due to focusing on equity. We're about to show you Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, and this is going to go on for about 1 minute and 40 seconds. I want you to experience this, the way the people standing there experience this. You're not going to hear her say anything. You're just going to hear a reporter ask her questions, and you're going to know a lot of what you need to. Put that picture of her up, please, Kevin, that still image of Karen Bass, graphic 105. You can tell almost everything you need to know about her in a political context simply by looking at the woman. And I know you know what I'm talking about. She cut the firefighting budget by $18 million recently. And here's what Fire Chief Kristen Crowley had to say about that on CNN. That is SOT 106, Kevin.
Let me be clear. The $17 million budget cut and the elimination of our civilian positions like our mechanics did and has and will continue to severely impact our ability to repair our apparatus. So with that, we have over 100 fire apparatus out of service. And having these apparatus in the proper amount of mechanics would have helped. And so it did absolutely negatively impact. I want to also be clear that I have, over the last 3 years, been clear that the fire department needs help. We can no longer sustain where we are. We do not have enough firefighters. With that, I have also requested multiple budgets, interim budgets, to show how understaffed, under-resourced, and underfunded the LEFD is. So with that, also, we have clear data that shows the LEFD needs more help. We need 62 more fire stations. These reports also show that we've had a 55% increase in overall call volume since 2010. And guess what? We're doing it with less firefighters. I was also directed to develop a plan as part of a budget reduction exercise, and that could equate to $48.8 million. And I rang the bell that these additional cuts could be very, very devastating for our ability to provide public safety. That would have resulted to 15 fire stations closing down and potentially the elimination of over 300 firefighters. Again, I want to be clear that I submitted a very large budget that will actually allow our firefighters to do their job.
Okay, meanwhile, LA Mayor Karen Bass was in Ghana for a Ghanaian political celebration.
Do you owe
Why?
citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor?
For those of you on audio, she's getting off an airplane. She's refusing to make eye contact with the reporter. She's refusing to
Nothing to
speak.
say to the citizens today. Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position?
Won't look at him, won't speak.
Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens
This is a
today
Sky
who are
News
dealing
reporter.
with this disaster? No apology for them? Do you think you should have been visiting Ghana while this was unfolding back home?
This is the contempt that your public servants have for you. Contempt. But she black, so she must be doing a good job.
Madam Mayor, let me ask you just again, have you anything to say to the citizens
Yeah,
today
she's about.
as you
She's
return?
she's got her little special exit here. Yeah, that's it. We can cut this off, Kevin. There's no more. She simply won't respond to this guy. Unbelievable. Yeah, we can cut this video, Kevin.
Okay, done.
All right. Now, what I want to show you next is the next one we have up, Kevin, should be number 108, Karen Bass press conference. A newsman tells of his experience on the street trying to report here, and he asks her questions. When you're watching this video, I want you to listen carefully to what she says, but I want you to take a good look at the women surrounding her. I apologize for the poor quality, but this was the best source I could find. Let's roll 108, please.
With CBS News for Mayor Bass, please. Mayor, LA County is in a panic state. It began 2 days ago with the Palisades fire. My crew and I arrived shortly after it started, and for several hours we watched as hundreds of homes in a neighborhood burned to the ground. We did not see a single fire engine. We watched as Good Samaritans guided traffic there was fear, and there was a lot of confusion.
Look at the glasses.
You were out of the country at the time. Shortly after the fire started, a press release was put out warning
Sour
of this
faces,
fire behavior.
upside down
My question
mouths,
to you is, what explains this
borderline look at
lack
me
of
glasses.
preparation and rapid response?
Let me just say, first and foremost, my number one focus, and I think the focus of all of us here with one voice, is that we have to protect lives, we have to save lives, and we have to save homes. Rest assured that when rest assured, let me finish. Rest assured, when that is done, when we are safe, when lives have been saved and homes have been saved, we will absolutely do an evaluation to look at what worked, what didn't work, and to correct or to hold accountable any body, department, individual, etc. But my focus right now is on the lives and on the homes.
Do you think your leadership was effective while responding to this disaster?
I just said what I believe is the most important thing for us to do right now, and that is going to continue to be my focus. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's going to continue to be my focus. Thank you. What I believe, with one voice, non-responsive. Rest assured. Rest assured. Thank you. Thank you. Meanwhile, Mayor Karen Bass has time to sit down with Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Gavin Newsom on a Zoom call. Uncle Joe is giving Mayor Karen Bass support. Listen carefully to what Joe Biden says. Nothing about the danger to the people, nothing about the homes destroyed. He only talks about wanting to shore her up and reassure her that her critics are meanies. He even makes fun of the claim. He treats it as if it were just a mere assertion, a mere claim that the fire hydrants were empty. Listen to what he says about this. Let's roll that, please.
The other thing is, look, I think you're getting a bad rap. I know you're getting a bad rap about these fire hydrants don't have enough water in them. Give me a break. Give me a break. What this is all about is the utilities, understandably, what they did is they cut off power because they're worried about these high tension lines coming down and causing more fires in the wind, right?
It's a little quiet.
When they do that, guess what? They shut off the power that controls the ability to pump the water. And so now you're getting generators here. I mean, this is complicated stuff. They're going to have a lot of demagogues out there trying to take advantage of it. But you're doing the right thing. We're going to get it done, God willing.
Give me a break. You don't have enough water in the hydrants. Give me a break. Here's your break, you son of a whore. Fuck you, Biden. This coming up here from MSNBC is the answer to Joe Biden. Let's roll 110.
Apartment building engulfed in flames. I saw the fire engine pull up this afternoon. A fire captain have one of his firefighters attach a hose to a hydrant, and that hose didn't fill up, Alex. And I asked the captain, out of every 10 hydrants you attach to today, on average, how many are you getting full water from? He says little to none. And it was at that point that really the whole crew stopped, looked up at this apartment building, and they realized there was nothing they could do.
Good God. And in the middle of all this, one of my state senators, communist Bernie Sanders, is out there laying this at the feet of climate change, and he's doing it to blame Donald Trump. Let's put up graphic 111. This is Bernie Sanders tweeting, 80,000 people told to evacuate. Blazes 0% contained. 8 months since the area has seen rain. The scale of damage and loss is unimaginable. Climate change is real, not a hoax. Donald Trump must treat this like the existential crisis it is. Go rot in hell where you belong, Bernie. Fuck you too. You know how these people beat you over the head to have empathy, to feel bad for the street addicts and the whores that your children have to walk past to get to school? How to feel bad for black career criminals who ain't never had no chance, so they had no choice but to kill your policeman husband so that they could get away from an arrest warrant. Feel empathy for the oppressed men in dresses who parade their penises down the street in broad daylight, giving each other blowjobs and drinking each other's piss. I'm not kidding. We've showed it to you on this show. Right out on the streets in broad daylight during their so-called pride celebrations, we're supposed to feel empathy for them because they're oppressed. And we're supposed to feel bad for the women who never got a chance at leadership because of the stupid, hateful, toxic male patriarchy. Vote them in for change. It's her turn now, isn't it? It's my turn now. This is the wages of narcissism. This is the penalty for our sin. Yes, ours, collectively as a society. These leaders are psychopaths and narcissists. I'm not making a rhetorical point. I'm not using a rhetorical hyperbole. I mean clinically diagnosable psychopaths. They are serpents, they are evil, and they have committed crimes against their fellow humans that they will never pay a price for. But we, all of us, collectively, we have sinned too. We buckled under. We voted them in. We took on their victim pose and lectured our friends and family about being empathetic to criminal, parasitic scumbags at the expense of actually loving and protecting our own children, our own families, and our own neighborhoods that we actually physically live in. We aren't even protecting our fellow Americans. Look at what they're doing to the people in North Carolina. FEMA is about to cut off. On January 10th, in the middle of winter, they are about to cut off the temporary housing that they're giving hurricane victims. That's what they think of you. American, your government hates you. I have been a conservative for several years now after being a stupid, brainwashed, cult member Democrat, and I was a cult member. It is a cult. And, doesn't it feel good to know how very good we are, what good thoughts we have, what warm, empathetic thoughts we have? Doesn't it feel good to know how good we are until we actually get burned? There's more. We're going to show you LA's water chief, the woman in charge of the water infrastructure, Janice Quinones. She's Latina, so you know that she's right for the job. This is the woman who didn't keep the water reserves full. This is the woman responsible for the facts that the fire hydrants in Los Angeles are dry. Here she is doing a radio interview.
Coming from the communities that I come, seeing what I've seen through my career in utilities and through the military. I've been in the Coast Guard 19 and a half years now, so I got 6 more months to qualify for my 20 years, which was my original goal.
Wow, congratulations. Thank you for your service.
Girl power. Thank you. It's important to me that everything we do, it's with an equity lens and social justice and making sure that we right the wrongs that we've done in the past from an infrastructure perspective, and that we involve the community in that process. And this utility is serious about it, is authentic about it. And so I'm just super excited to be part of that movement.
Oh, yeah? Thank you for your service. It's important to look at it through an equity lens. We're making sure we right the wrongs we've done in the past from an infrastructure perspective. And this department is really authentic about it. And I'm just super excited to be part of that movement. Fuck you. No, the job of a utility is to provide energy or water. The job of a fire department is to put out fires. The job of a police department is to stop crime and catch criminals. It is not the responsibility of any such agency to right wrongs from the past. Equity and social justice are 0% the proper remit of any such agency. I read somebody on Substack recently who was correctly criticizing the LA response and incompetence and their defense of equity hiring. But she said, I'm sure we can all agree that equity and justice are important, but in this case, ... No, we cannot all agree to that. No. It's not true. It's not obvious and normal. It's a very recent, within the past 10 years, delusion, obsessive delusion. It's actually insane, as in disconnected from reality, to think that such agencies should prioritize or do even a little bit of any of this social worker bullshit. They need to make widgets, they need to catch crooks, they need to put out fires, they need to administer elections, and they need to keep the water running. It's right in the fucking name of the organizations and agencies. The fire department. It's the LA Fire Department, not the LA Fire Department and the Cloward Piven School of Equitable Education and Soup Kitchens. How do we have to sit here and say this shit? How is it not obvious? This is the wages of a cluster B society. The chickens are home and they are fully roosting. Now, we got an image for you here. I want you to take a look at the entire top brass of the Los Angeles Fire Department. This is the fire chief, the assistant fire chief, and the training commander of the Los Angeles Fire Department. All three are women. All three are lesbians. What is the statistical likelihood that the most qualified people for the top positions at the fire department in the second largest city in this nation are all middle-aged lesbians, and they're all named Kristen or Christine? You think I'm not making it up? Ask it, what is the likelihood that these are the most qualified people and that's why they're there? Go back to that graphic and look at that woman on the right. Look at that mixed race black woman on the right. That's Deputy Fire Chief Christine Larson. Here she is coming up on video. This is going to be SOT 114, Kevin, telling you about how people with homes on fire want people rescuing them who look like them.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. Is she strong enough to do this? Or, you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire. Which my response is, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
Did you hear what I heard? If a man needs to be carried out, can she do it? Well, if he got himself into that position. This is the deputy fire chief. She makes $400,000 a year. Are you a man trapped in a burning building? Probably shouldn't have been trapped in a burning building then, huh? Right? Right? Fire that psychopathic cunt. This is America. People listening and watching. This is us. And if you're not as fucking furious as I am, there is something seriously wrong with you. I'm right, and I'm right on time. All right, let's go back to the top of the show, how we started this out. And I'm going to pick up about my house problems with water and electricity. Trust me, I'm going to tie this up in a bow for you. Now, to figure out why my upstairs tenants were getting brownouts in their lights, why their electric stove burners weren't working, why our well pump was out, I had to get 2 plumbers and an electrician out all in one day. It was one of these complicated problems that takes a lot of troubleshooting because these systems are interdependent and contingent on each other. It's not a question of diagnosing just one problem. Electrical systems and water systems work together. Each of these guys helped me get a step closer to the answer. They weren't wrong not to be able to figure it out on the first try. This is how complicated systems work. So after being up at 6:30 to make emergency phone calls, it took until about 3 in the afternoon to get the final electrician, Mark, to come out to the house. And he's the guy who found the final piece of the puzzle. So we go outside the house to the utility pole, big telephone. You see how old I am, telephone poles. I don't even think there are telephone poles anymore. The big pole servicing the house out front. It's the electrical mains and meters are mounted on this pole. There's one electrical main and one meter for my tenants and one for me downstairs. This is a duplex house. It's just a ranch style house with an apartment upstairs and an apartment downstairs. But I'm part of the landlord class. I'm making big rich money, right? My utility box is in great shape. It's been installed within the past 15 years. It's up to modern code. It's sealed against the weather. But the one for my tenants we've discovered was installed in 1960 and had been badly corroded. How badly corroded? Take a look at your screen. What you're seeing there, that rust in the middle, that is one of 2 120-volt main lines that feed into the house. The terminus and the screw down were entirely rusted. When Mark the electrician moved them, he shut the main power off and moved them. What you see in front of you literally crumbled into dust. I watched it crumble into dust like a special effect in a movie and fall out of his hands. That explains the brownouts. It explains why the water pump wasn't getting juice and working. Fully half the mains to the house were out. Mark, I'm not, if he's listening, Mark, you're a god. Thank you. I don't know the right word, but he jumped the line and rigged it in a safe, legal, temporary way. Voila, instantly the water pump came back on. My tenant's kitchen started working again. It was such a blessed relief. And I actually have full water pressure. I've been living in this house for a year and 2 months since the flood, and I had no idea that my weak water pressure was because my water pump was about to give up the ghost because it was getting about 50 volts when it needed to get many more. Here's the point of all of this. Mark Fournier of Precision Electrical, so if you're in Vermont, I recommend him. He was the final electrician. He busted his ass on a busy day to drive to my house from another county when he had a class to teach and another job to do, because he considered my house not having water to be the highest priority of his day. He said, I'm not going to make you people go without water for another day. It's not like he did it to us, but he cared that much. I can't thank him enough. That is decency. It's more than decency. It's kindness and it's competence. Bill, the first plumber who came out, Bill McCready, thank you very much. He came out at 9 a.m. and got me several steps down the diagnostic road. And then later in the day, Josh from Onion River Well Company, thank you very much, Josh, came a few hours later and traced out the next few steps of the problem and advised me that it was definitely electrical, so we ruled out that my water pump was not on the fritz. He put me in touch with his brother, Jacob, who was too busy, but Jacob made sure to call me back later to tell me he knew that I needed somebody. Thank you, Jacob. And then Mark saved us. Next week, he and the electric company are going to go out and replace the main, the meter. And I don't think I have it for you, but above that meter, up the pole, is a frayed electrical line. That's all going to have to be replaced. Excuse me. This whole thing is going to cost about $2,000, which I don't need, but it solves a boatload of worries for my tenants and for me. I mean, I wasn't sure that there wasn't some sort of short circuit in the house that was going to cause a fire hazard, but there wasn't. It was all out at the main. So I can sleep at night again. And I care about my tenants. I mean, I'm legally obligated to provide them with a safe, habitable, and peaceable place to live. But even if I weren't, I care. I don't want them living like that. Meanwhile, Kevin and Phil have built a studio in my house, working nearly around the clock, and the talent and ingenuity that Kevin has in between the two of these guys is really something to watch. It's sheer competence and talent with infrastructure. I can't do what they do, but I can shop for parts. I can keep food on the table. I can keep the coffee going. I can offer a support role. So I have this to say. Housewives and house homos, get your ass in the kitchen and make your man a sandwich and do it with a smile. Be grateful for what he does. Our charmed modern convenience lives depend on men like this. These are the competent men. They're the middle-aged men. They're the old men. They are the men who literally built the first world infrastructure that we live in every day, and they are the ones who keep it going. They are not oppressors. They are not scumbags. They are not abusers. They are good souls. They deserve our respect, and they deserve our love. So as we get ready to end this section of the show, please keep the people in Los Angeles in your thoughts and prayers. I know that goes without saying, but I felt like saying it anyway. If you want to donate to the recovery efforts, my friend Holly Math Nerd, who writes a Substack, she has a Substack post with a vetted way to get money and supplies to people on the ground, being routed through a local restaurant in the area who's just doing this out of the goodness of their hearts. I can also recommend, if you want to donate to an organization that will help people on the ground, I have personal experience with a veteran-run volunteer organization called Team Rubicon. They send crews out to people's homes to help with flood and fire damage. No questions asked, no means test. They helped me rehab this apartment when it was destroyed by a flood in 2023.
Go to bed.
And to all the Southern California listeners, we're all thinking about you and praying for you. We're going to go to a break. We'll see you on the other side.
Yeah, I saw Biltong in there, but we weren't going to get to it because I'd already started. But your mic's off. Let's do Biltong when we come back in. Hang on 1 second. Okay, I'm in this. I can't hear you. Do you want to talk on the phone or do you want to come right back? I'm just getting Biltong in the right place here. We're going to give it a second. In fact, when I do come back in, I'm going to come straight in on Biltong and then the city market. You're not going to have your quotes. That's the only element. I'm going to keep up with the other ones in lifetime, but I don't have the quotes, the graphic quotes at the top of this next block. Thumbs up if you want to also do the Discord promo at the top of this. Okay. Just Biltong and then into block B. Alright. I can't hear you. You can call me or text me. Okay, I'm going to keep up an element in real time on this one. Try to. Thumbs up if you're ready to come back. No? Okay. Here we go. See you with me on the screen. We're going to come back in 5, 4,
3, 2. Oh, we came back from the break too quick. I need my nicotine. This is this is fun actually, but it is stressful when everything is brand new and this is the first time we're doing it. So, why is there meat on your screen? Because that's our sponsor, Anton's Biltong. What is Biltong? It's like the best beef jerky you've ever had in your life, except it's not beef jerky. It's actually whole meat. Biltong is a vinegar and spice cured thinly sliced beef. It's a South African way of doing it. Anton and his family are from South Africa. They are legal immigrants, a wonderful family who came and built a business in Texas. And they have everything. They have mild, they have hot, they've got super hot spicy. This week my box came. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to try the venison. They've got kangaroo. They've got all kinds of beef. So if you want in on this deliciousness, and you should, please support the people who support our work. Go to And we're going to have to change the graphic. The new website is biltongusa.com. biltongusa.com. And if you would like 10% off your order, use promo code Josh. Thanks, Anton. All right. Let's talk about gender and Title IX. We have years, generations probably, of work to do to recover from what woke has done to our society, to our family structure, our culture, our marketplace, our political economy. Donald Trump's election is only our first chance at doing this. Nothing got solved. We got a chance. That's all we got. We are at the beginning. This show is not going to go off the air because we've run out of woke. Don't think that. Your life is not going to change overnight. You're going to have to work. Prepare yourself for a long, hard battle. What's going on in Los Angeles right now is the fruit of the Marxist cluster B seeds that were sown in the Western world in the 1960s. Probably before that. I understand that. I don't need to be corrected on all of that. I get it. Okay? But there is progress starting. I'm going to read to you from a story from National Review. A federal judge on Thursday blocked the Biden administration's Title IX rewrite that added sexual orientation and alleged, quote, quote, gender identity as protected classes under civil rights law. The rule change sought to revise sex-based discrimination, which critics argued would prevent federally funded schools from barring athletes who identify as transgender from participating in women's sports. Let me put this into plain language for you. Title IX in the United States was meant to protect the rights of women in college and university sports and academic opportunities. Biden, with the stroke of an executive pen, overrode Congress's law and redefined sex to include gender identity. So what that meant was boys and men claiming to be women could now participate in women's sports in college, could be in their locker rooms, that you had to use the pronouns for them, or they were going to pull federal funding from colleges. Well, frankly, federal funding should be pulled from all colleges. In fact, federal funding should be fucking pulled from everything. I want the government dead. I'm Grover Norquist now. I want it small enough to be strangled in the bathtub. I want 90% of the federal government shut down. I want them to provide for the common defense, and that's about it, and to negotiate among the states. I'm never going to see that in my lifetime. Yeah, I'm going full Ayn Rand. Let me go back to the story. As President Joe Biden prepares to leave office, a U.S. district court in Kentucky has struck down this new rule nationwide. When Title IX is viewed in its, this is a quote from the federal judge who just struck down Biden's revisions. When Title IX is viewed in its entirety, it is abundantly clear that discrimination on the basis of sex means discrimination on the basis of being a male or a female. As this court and others have explained, expanding the meaning of on the basis of sex to include gender identity turns Title IX on its head. Yes, in other words, narcissistic reversal, moral inversion, 180 degrees from reality. Black is white, ugly is beautiful, sin is grace. Reversal, satanic. So this ruling just struck down all of that Title IX shit nationwide. It's not just in one district, it's the whole country. No more allowing boys and girls locker rooms and vice versa, or in sports. No more of this bullshit. Yes, there are states are going to challenge it. Yes, it's going to be challenged. In the meantime, some of the gender fuckery is still going on, and it's going to go on for quite a long time. It's going to go on for years. It's going to go on for years. You remember that the Supreme Court struck down affirmative action, race-based affirmative action in college admissions. They're still doing it. They're just calling it something else. It's going to happen for years, okay? Not over. Everything didn't go bling magically wonderful. And yes, this will get to the Supreme Court. And yes, I am confident, I do believe that the Supreme Court will uphold sanity. I do. So be pleased with this progress. I certainly am. But in the meantime, fuckery is still afoot. I think this must be the most uses of the F word I've ever done on this show. So here locally in Burlington, Vermont, the chickens have fully come home to roost at one of the local palaces of progressivism called City Market. It's the cooperative hippie grocery store that's staffed, yes, literally, by troons who wear women's underwear as part of their work outfits, bustiers and teddies. It's basically a Unitarian church with bulk quinoa. City Market actually has an excellent hot food and salad bar. It's restaurant quality. I picked up lunch there a lot when we used to have a studio in Burlington. But now they've had to close the cafe seating atrium because of druggies, whores, and criminals who are puking all over the tables and ODing on the floor and doing the scummy things that scummy people do. Remember, this is the grocery store with a sharps bin in the bathroom, not for diabetics, for drug addicts, with signs inviting them to place their dirty needles in there for harm reduction purposes. This is where you took your little girl to go to the bathroom. So let's put up the graphic for City Market, please, Kevin. It is number 203. So here it is. And this is getting the voice. If you hate the voice, plug your ears. Temporary closure of the downtown store cafe area. Hello, co-op member. Happy New Year, and we hope you're staying healthy and hydrated, especially with the fluctuating temperatures these days. After much consideration, we have temporarily closed our cafe area in the downtown store due to a continued number of safety and security issues. The safety of our members, customers, and staff is our highest priority. We realize this is an inconvenience and not ideal for folks who enjoy using our tables and chairs to enjoy our food and connect with the local community. However, we believe this is the best way forward as we take time to reassess the space and reopen it when we feel that it is safe. We appreciate your understanding, and please contact us with any questions and concerns. The City Market membership team. Good. Fuck you, City Market. You deserve this. I'm glad it's happening to you. And so is Reddit. The Burlington subreddit is actually surprising. Even the local lefties are getting fed up. Here's a sampling. Number 204, please, Kevin. Freeword says, what's up with the two people living under a tarp on the sidewalk right on North Winooski Avenue in front of the no loitering sign? Think this has anything to do with them? Next one, Mark 788 says, well, yeah. Too many homeless junkies and people with mental health issues causing too many problems at the City Market Cafe, committing crimes, having, quote, episodes, ODing, bothering people who are actually there to spend money and patronize the business, and being otherwise undesirable in a quasi-public space. I'm surprised the cafe wasn't closed much sooner. This is why we can't have nice things. Next one, Smooth Review says, Burlington really has to do something about the homeless population. Hannah Trips replies to him, the fact that businesses are closing down areas that the greater community enjoys due to a few problematic people is absolutely nuts. How can the city council just sit there and think this is okay? It's like the homeless are taking over and no one is stopping them, so everyone else has to adjust to them. I like Burlington, but the more I see on this page, the less I respect it. You and me both, Hannah. Then Hire 2288 says, over $150 million alone spent on the failed motel program, and now Burlington wants a clinic where you can overdose on smack in safety. That's not healthcare. Pay the police so people want to go downtown and not be afraid. I won't go downtown anymore unless I absolutely have to. Excuse me. My female friends won't go downtown under any circumstances unless I or another man is there to escort them. And they're right. Next one up, this is 208, Kevin. Odd Speaker 5593 says, it's insane to see this city I love being reduced to dung by self-inflicted policy decisions made by adult children who can't govern their way out of a pint of Ben & Jerry's. Squandered one of the most beautiful cities in the entire country. There's literally a low-achieving cloud of incompetence hanging over that entire part of the state. It's absolutely wild. You finally leave, and realize that things actually work and run well in other places. And it's just the morons that keep getting voted in and running it into the ground. I don't know who needs to hear this, but you all actually don't have to live like this, you know? All right. We're coming up on another break here, but I want to remind you, as the free, non-paying other sponsor of this show, that I'm available for private 1-hour consulting at joshuaslocum.net. If you've got a cluster B problem, a suspected cluster B problem, if you're dealing with it at work or home and you want somebody who is experienced, who can talk through your options, help you sort through what is actually going on, and listen to you carefully, I'm your guy. Check it out at joshuaslocum.net. And remember that if you are a paying subscriber, a monthly paying subscriber, a member of Disaffected, you get a nice discount. So come back after the break for the first Potpourri du Moquerie of the year, because we are going to lighten this bitch up.
Okay, that was interesting.
Welcome back. It's time for Potpourri du Moquerie, except we do not have the graphics and the stuff, so I have to give you extra stupid French accent. All right. First up this week, we can confirm that this totally authentic, totally candid picture of Nancy Pelosi is totally real. This is how she got worth hundreds of millions of dollars on a congressional salary. For those of you on audio, it's an Old Crow whiskey ad that says, Old Crow would like to introduce our new spokeswoman. It's got Nancy Pelosi with jug tits hanging down in prostitute clothes, with one foot hiked up. It says, an Old Crow experienced in drinking. Do you know what this reminded me of? Cue up the next one, 302, Kevin, because the people have got to see this. Do you guys remember Futurama? She's like Petunia. How about some nectar straight from the hive? And then she says, die young and leave a good-looking corpse. That's what I always say. And Bender comes back, well, you should say something different. Next up, and this, Kevin, will be number 3. Yes, here we go. A publicity still from the upcoming Disney movie for the whole family, Precious 2, The Engulfing. Gabor Side is Los Angeles Assistant Fire Chief Christine Larson, the only thing sitting between you and destruction. A major motion picture event coming this summer to your track phone. Now, let's check in with the Branch Covidians. This story comes to us from Boulder, Colorado, and if you don't know Boulder, it's just Burlington, Seattle, and Portland. Boulder Weekly says, quote, we're doing this to stay alive. Meet Colorado's COVID cautious community. Okay, let's put the next one up. Here's the first photograph in you know what, when I wrote the script, it says here guy in mask. That's not a guy, it's another, it's a lot of dykes this week, you know. In a mask outside with sunglasses on. Are you ready? Here's the opener from the story. I want you to notice the surname and notice the pronouns. Katrina Dreamer is tired of asking friends, family, even their doctor to wear a mask. Quote, "My doctor refused to wear a mask for me," they said. Like, my doctor. How am I even saying that sentence? This is a real quote. It's right in the fucking paper. How am I even saying that sentence? And you know she pronounces it that way, but that goddamn glottal stop where it doesn't belong. It's so good. I'm going to read you more from the story. Few Americans are still masking, and most believe we are in a post-pandemic era. Not Dreamer, Katrina Dreamer, or the small contingent of Coloradans who bill themselves as COVID cautious or COVID informed. They are individuals who have stepped into the role our governments once played, distributing protective equipment and warning the public of a rise in cases. Next quote. The early days, this is Katrina Dreamer, the early days of the pandemic were really hard for everybody, and I can understand the tendency to not want to look at that anymore, but there are millions of people who can't avoid it. Immunocompromised, chronically ill, disabled people are everywhere. I'm there. I need people to do what they can to protect me. No. No, you stupid bitch. The answer is no. Protect yourself. This is external locus of control. We find this in traumatized people. And I'm not asking you to have direct personal sympathy for these people. I'm not asking you can do that if you want, but I'm not asking you to do that. I'm explaining, not excusing. These people, they're annoying and they've become perpetrators and they need to be reined in by society, but they got that way somehow. Most of these people really did have traumatic or neglectful childhoods. You don't grow up this way in a normal household. They didn't just come out that way, right? But one of the consequences of a neglectful, abusive, traumatizing childhood is that you begin to see yourself as a victim. I know this. This was me. I was never this crazy, but I was pretty goddamn crazy. You begin to see yourself as a victim. And you believe that that you cannot help yourself. It starts with the belief that you literally do not have agency to help yourself. You really do believe you have to have daddy government, mommy government. So you start blaming everyone else around you for everything that goes wrong and everything they don't do to anticipate your need. And in the extreme cases, yes, it turns into a cluster B personality disorder. You become a borderline, a narcissist, a histrionic, right? That's these people. All right, let's go back to the story. I had another F word, but I'm going to leave that one alone. These people, the COVID cautious in Boulder, they've put up distribution boxes. Look at your screen here. This is a yellow newspaper box that they have appropriated. Excuse me, let me do it in business speak. Repurposed. And it says free masks. Look at the little smiley face they put out. The smiley face that accompanies this lunacy. It's everywhere. Everything is romper room and kindergarten. Now, cue up number 309, Kevin. Here are the ladies featured in that story. Look at these dumb broads. I'll read to you left to right. Audio people, they're all wearing masks, these three women, and they're all, apparently smiling at the camera. You can't quite tell. Left to right, Sarah S., COVID safe Colorado co-founder Katrina Dreamer, and singer-songwriter Zio Bokebinder at the group's Masked Pride event in June 2024, photo courtesy of Katrina Dreamer. The dream of the 90s is alive in Boulder. Finally, more good news. Did you hear that Facebook is getting rid of its fact checkers? It's true. This is not a joke. It's absolutely true. And they're allowing jokes about trans people and more. This is hard for me to get through because when I saw this headline this week, and it was the first thing I saw in the morning, it was the first thing I saw, and I started giggling so hard that I actually took a picture of my reaction in the moment. Put it on the screen, Kevin. This was me the other morning when I saw this headline. I remind you that I am, of course, without hair and makeup. And if you... Do you know that line I just fed you? If you know that line in the movie, put it in the comments section, and I'm going to send you a free disaffected t-shirt from our merch store. Remember that. We haven't promoted it enough, but we have merch. Go to disaffected.com/merch. But if you can name the movie that I just quoted that line from, that one is yours. All right. Here's what set me off. Here's the headline from CNN. Do you have number 311, please, Kevin? Put it up. Here's the headline. Calling women household objects now permitted on Facebook after Meta updated its guidelines. Calling women household objects now permitted. I put that up on Substack, and my friend Ellen, how you doing, said this. We'll put that up. She said, well, it's about damn time. So I said back to her, shut up, Colander. Let me read to you from the story. Meta, that's Facebook. I hate these stupid names. Meta on Tuesday announced sweeping changes to how it moderates content that will roll out in the coming months, including doing away with professional fact-checking. But the company also quietly updated its hateful conduct policy, adding new types of content users can post on the platform effective immediately. Users are now allowed to, for example, refer to, quote, women as household objects or property, or transgender or non-binary people as it. According to a section of the policy prohibiting such speech, that was crossed out. A new section of the policy notes that Meta will allow, quote, allegations of mental illness or abnormality when based on gender or sexual orientation, given political and religious discourse about transgenderism and homosexuality. Previously, such comments would have been subject to removal under the policy. The changes to Meta's hateful conduct policy were first reported by Wired. And I wish I could show this to you guys, but what is so funny about this is the bad punctuation. Because when they say the changes to Meta's hateful conduct policy, they don't put hateful conduct in quotation marks. So it sounds like they're saying the changes to Meta's hateful conduct policy. And if you don't like this, trannies and faggots, let me introduce you to my friend from Thailand named Sukmaidik. That's the show. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. We'll see you next week with a fully completed studio. Good night.